We're going to go through the orientation for the RV. Just like most vehicles, it drives really well. Shouldn't be anything different than your vehicle at home on getting things started inside. Just remember wide turns, watch for poles and columns in and out of the gas station. As we start here, coming down the side of the driver's side, we have a cap. You remove this cap, you can put your garden hose in, and that's how you're going to fill the 40-gallon fresh water tank. There's a gauge inside. All of the gauges are just estimates, so that you can see how full the tank is as you're filling it. Moving a little bit further, there's another plug here. This is for the city water connect. So when you have your RV water hookup at the RV park, you'll take the water hose, hook it up at the RV park, and you'll hook it into here, and that's going to provide the water pressure to the inside. So you have a water pump that's going to be pulling water from the water tank if you do not have a hookup, or you'll have the pressure from the water hookup running the water on the inside. Only one or the other, not using the water pump at all times. Right here, this is the propane bay. Just like your barbecue, it has a little valve here to open it up. Typically the propane should be on when you pick up, and that's going to be running your refrigerator. It'll be running the heater as well as the gas propane tank. Gas hot water heater. A little bit further, we have the exhaust for the hot water heater. It is a 5-gallon tank. It takes about 15 minutes to heat up. It does have a vent here. It can become hot. Please refrain from leaning anything up against it or touching it. You could get burned. This is the generator bay. We'll show you how to start the generator on the inside. This is where your power connect is. So at the RV park, you'll pull the electrical cable out of the compartment. You'll plug it in at the RV park, or if you had an external generator, and plug it right in here, and that's going to provide the power for the inside. As a side note, AC, microwave, and any of the outlets, you're going to need power to run those items. We do have a big large slide out here for the bedroom. The bedroom's turned at a 90-degree angle, so please make sure you have about 3 feet as this slide out comes out. Trees, bushes, cars, any toys, so that it doesn't damage that item or the slide out. It has a 50-gallon fuel tank. It runs off of unleaded. The vehicle and the generator run off of the same tank. There should be a safety feature built in. When it gets down to about a quarter of a tank, the generator should not start. It's just so that you don't get stranded out in the wilderness. We've got a large compartment here. And then just so that you know, this is where the dumping is. As you can see, there's a gray valve right here. And on the other side, there's a black valve. On the other side of the RV, there is another black valve just below the toilet. You want to make sure that you have both black valves open when you're dumping the tanks, and always close the valve underneath the toilet so that this big long pipe, the width of the RV, does not get impacted with waste. Moving back around, it does have a ladder for roof access for maintenance. Please stay off the roof. We don't want anybody falling off or having any issues. That's just for the mechanic. It does have a spare tire in the event that there is any need for a replacement. Moving back along, as we come around, we do have a large awning the whole length of the RV here. It is just a shade structure. Any wind, rain, snow, any other inclement weather, make sure you put it up. It is just like a big giant kite. We don't want any damage to the awning, and I'm sure you don't want to pay for any damage also due to either negligence or just air in general. There's a couple of outlets right here that you can use while you're plugged in at the RV park or running off of the generator. This is the back of the refrigerator for maintenance. And then this is the exhaust for the furnace. It can be hot. Just make sure, like on the exhaust for the hot water heater, that you don't have anything by it while it's in use or touch it incidentally. Furthermore, there's one more compartment up front that's very large. Typically, that's where we'll be storing the equipment for the sewer hose as well as the electrical cable. Let's go ahead and head inside. We're going to go over the interior controls for the RV. As you first step in the door, you'll see a bunch of switches and some light switches. One is for the awning. There's a little step light here. We have an interior light, an exterior light, and a footlight underneath the entryway. Also, we have a battery disconnect switch. It's pointing towards 3 o'clock in the on position. You're going to leave it on for the duration of your trip, otherwise you're going to lose power on the inside. If you lose power, then your refrigerator won't stay cold. It's just for storage mode in the off position to help maintain the battery so they don't inadvertently get charged down. Also, this is just a regulator for the solar panel that's on the roof. As we rotate over here to the center console, you'll be able to see all of the main controls for the RV. First things first, if you did rent the premium generator, this would be the remote start switch for the generator. To start it, you actually push down towards stop, and that's going to prime the pump. The red light's going to turn red, and that means it's primed. You're going to press up towards start and hold it engaged until the motor starts for the generator. It takes about 45 seconds to power up on the inside once the generator has stabilized. We have a bank of switches here. They're all touch buttons. And then they illuminate on top stating how full the tanks are or are not. This is just a guide to give you an estimate on your tank levels. Just remember there can be some water or moisture inside the tanks, and it could give a false positive. So if you know that you've dumped the tanks or you're in between parks and you did, just remember it's just a guide to give you an idea of where you're at with your tank levels. Moving down here, anytime you want any water pressure from the fresh water tank, you're going to have to turn the water pump on. It's just a switch. You just click it up, and that's going to provide the water pressure to all of your outlets inside the RV. At the time that you want some hot water, we have a gas option or an electric option. If you're plugged in at the RV park, you would turn it on. Make sure you do have a water source either through the water pump or plugged in at the water outlet at the RV park. It's a 5-gallon tank, takes about 15 minutes to heat up. As we're moving along, we have a futon style couch. Pretty straightforward. You just lift up on the base and then it's going to lay flat for you, and it's another comfortable sleeping area. We have a cab overbed. Please use the ladder that's stored in the closet compartment to climb up and down, not the seat backs or the dinette or the captain's chairs for the front. Those are not weight bearing and they will cause damage. We also have a dinette that turns into a bed. If you look, there's a little lever here. You want to kick this lever over and it unblocks the locking mechanism. With 2 hands, you're going to push down and it's going to rest along this rail. And then you take the seat back cushions on the top of the seat, and those are going to come back to the middle on the tabletop to provide a calm, cool surface to sleep on. Moving along, things should be pretty straightforward. We got a kitchen sink, we have the microwave, and then a stove. Just remember, AC, microwave, and any of the outlets, you're gonna need a power source at your RV park or running the generator. Next, we have the stovetop and oven. This does have a glass cover. Please make sure that you lift it up. It is only a cover, it is not a glass cooktop. To light the stove, you'll just turn on to the burners to one of the flames, and then this knob here on the far left is just an igniter, so it'll provide the spark for the flame. We have a refrigerator freezer. To start the refrigerator, you want to make sure that you have the propane turned on and that you do have gas flow. There's 2 switches up here. One is the on switch, and one has the option of either auto or exclusively gas. So you'll just press the on button and it should automatically light through the electronics, the pilot light, to regulate the refrigerator. It takes about 6 hours to get cool completely. The freezer box freezes, the cold air flows down to the, it's going to be the least coldest on the bottom of the fridge. There is a slider here, and there's a little wire that's connected to it that's going to regulate the temperature for the fridge. If for some reason you notice that wire is hanging down, your fridge most likely will be getting warm, and you'll want to just slide it back into that plastic slider so that it'll re-regulate the refrigerator. We really like this new design of these fridge handles. Just be very careful. As you open it, you need to articulate it out and then pull the fridge. There are some weak points, so just be careful on opening and closing the refrigerator. Unfortunately, the handles are actually quite expensive, and if we have to replace them, we'll need to replace them. Right below the stove, we have the electrical panel. Inside the panel, we have a bank of fuses as well as breakers in the event that any of those are tripped or get burned out. Inside the glove box up front, there should be extra fuses in the event that something like that does occur. As a side note, real quick, underneath this cabinet, there's 3 switches. One is going to be for the dining room lights, one's going to be for kitchen lights, and then also one runs the overhead fan in the kitchen that acts as the vent fan for the stove and the oven. There's also a secondary switch, but we usually just use it here. That way those that are height challenged don't have to worry about touching that black button. Moving back here towards the bedroom, we do have the slide out for the bedroom. You do have this walkway, and then on both sides of the bed, it should be pretty self-explanatory. We have the extend, and that's going to push the slide out, as well as the retract button. There's also a light switch for the lighting inside the bedroom. We have your thermostat. All the way to the left is going to be cool. You have a fan option, or all the way to the right is going to be heat, and then you have your slider for your temperature. Just as a side note, the way that the AC unit works, it generally can cool approximately no more than 15 degrees cooler on the inside than what the exterior outside temperature is. Let's take a look at the bathroom real quick. Should be pretty straightforward too. We got a foot pedal to go ahead and flush the toilet. We got a sink in here. We provide toilet paper as well as chemicals for the toilet. And then we also have a shower. As a side note, there is also an on-off switch on top of the shower head in case that you're not getting any flow out of the shower. That might actually be pushed in the opposite direction to turn it off. Just remember, RV toilet paper only in the toilet, no feminine hygiene products, special wipes, paper towels, or any other items that are not human waste or toilet paper. We look forward to seeing you soon.